Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Mike Kollin at MikeKollin.com. The name of the song is called Vibe Master by Punch Deck. Okay, turn the music down there just a little bit. Okay, so one of the things that I want to start off right off the bat is this video is going to be about what is it that I'm doing? What is the purpose or intention of my business and my life's work? In a very vague, big picture and abstract way, to show you how to condition you and walk you out of the limitations of your mind and of your heart, to pop you out of that stuck state. The ultimate words would be emotional freedom and personal power. See, one of the things I've come to realize, I started realizing this probably 15 years ago, maybe more. There's a couple things. Number one, what I'm trained in, the different technologies, they're advanced. So if you go to like a psychologist, that's nice. But if you go to someone who's a certified NLP trainer, that's much more powerful. And the secondary part of that is, are they dedicated? Did they dedicate their ass off for dozens of years? Are they an artist? Is this part of their life's journey? See, I would say the majority of people that go to NLP trainings, they learn some basic stuff. They like it. They think it's cool. But NLP is an art. It is a challenging art. It's not easy to master it, and you have to have the mentality of mastering it, period, end of sentence. If you are one of those people, you're going to get really good at helping people shift and change. Now here's the second part of this video. One of the things that dawned on me about 15 plus years ago, now you got to understand, we all live the way we live, so we think the way we think. In other words, you were brought up with the experiences that you were brought up with, and so that's the way you perceive life. I was brought up in the way that I brought myself up, and that is a key word, myself, because I didn't have a parent. So I was very demanding of myself starting at second grade, and I'll tell you why. We moved from California to Wisconsin. Wisconsin schools, and Midwest schools in general, at least back at that time, were way, way advanced compared to California schools. California schools, I remember what I learned in 6th grade, we didn't start doing until I got to 10th grade. Because here I am in 8th grade class, and it was English and then math. And I'm like, I learned this stuff like in 4th grade. Like, why are we going over this? So when we moved to Wisconsin, that was the summer after 1st grade. So I started 2nd grade there. And the first quarter report card, I got bad grades for the first time in my life. I got a couple B's, I got a couple C's, and I got a D+. And I was like, oh man. So it kind of kicked me in the ass. And I remember that night I felt so bad, and I prayed to God, and I prayed, and I promised I'd do my homework every night for the rest of my life. And I did. I busted my ass, and bam, I went up to straight A's. Now, I'm going to give you a little piece after that, and then I'm going to come back to what the original purpose of this is. So then I got involved in sports, and I pushed myself, and I had coaches that saw my potential, and they pushed me beyond, and I pushed myself further than any human being could ever imagine pushing a human being. When my coaches found that I was running 7 miles a day when I was a kid, they were like, are you joking? I'm like, no. And people would say, yeah, he was way out there in Marquezan, running back from Marquezan. And they tried to pull over and give me a ride. I'm like, no, I'm getting ready. They're like, for what? I go, said for a state championship. So here's the deal. Because I grew up the way I grew up, that's all I knew. And I just assumed, well, so do you. It's like, how to explain it? It's because this is the way life was for me. I mean, lots of kids played sports. But here's the deal. Those kids on the same boxing team that I was on, they didn't run every morning. Some of them never ran at all before they went to school. And that's why they didn't win. Some of them didn't show up to every single boxing training practice on time and were the last ones to leave like I was. And then when they got home, they didn't do an extra 100 push-ups, extra 100 sit-ups, and extra 100 jumping jacks, and then stretch for 20 or 30 minutes after they already did it practice, after they did it in the morning. Now, I worked with some really, really top-notch coaches that were world-class coaches over my lifetime, over the period of time. And you get to a level where you are just like, it is, God, what's the word I'm looking for? It is sharp. They are at a level that other people are just not at. So now you join that group, and you're experiencing this level of training, of focus, of thinking, of a mental attitude. So when people would come in to work with me, now here I am on top of this, I'm using this new technology called neurolinguistic programming to help people shift and change. It's like reprogramming your entire system. And then I'm using something called Ericksonian hypnosis. Now, the reason why I always say Ericksonian is because this is not your general run-of-the-mill hypnosis. This is the best hypnosis on the planet. This is advanced. This is specifically designed for therapy, for changing, for shifting, for healing emotionally. So here's what I realized. Because I've been doing NLP for so long, and HNLP, and neuroassociative conditioning, and timeline therapy, and hypnosis, and all this stuff, working with people on a daily basis, I kind of forgot that most of you guys have no idea the technologies we have now. You have no idea how much you can shift and change in 1, 2, or 3 sessions. It is mind-blowing. The second part is a lot of you guys have no idea the level of mindset you could develop, the level of shift that can happen in your life. Now, I developed this because of sports. You know, a lot of people are like, oh, I'm not in the mood. You're not in the mood? Well, yeah, I don't speak laziness. What country does that language come from? It doesn't make sense to me. What do you mean you're not in the mood? What is that? I mean, I've played with broken bones, broken ribs, broken fingers. I mean, I've showed up to practice every day and threw that ball 100% with that broken finger on that hand. I did not care. And a lot of you guys will come in, oh, I'm tired. What's tired? What are you speaking? I have a client say, I only got like 7 hours of sleep. I'm like, oh, I've been up for 2 days. And they're like, what? I go, yeah, I haven't slept for 2 days. Let's go. Now here's the thing. You would be surprised, for a lot of you, how much you can push yourself. Okay, here's what happens when clients come in the door. They'll come in kind of tired or exhausted or not in the mood, one of those things. And boom, in 30 minutes, they're just like, boom, we are flying. I will take you and amp you up to a level that you never even knew you could get to. See, it's not I'm not in the mood. It's, okay, I have to get myself in the mood. Do you see the different mindset there? I don't show up to the gym and think, well, I'm just not fired up today. No, you get yourself fired up. There are tools, there are techniques, there are skills, there are abilities you can learn, develop, and grow that will shift your mentality into where you want to be. See, the question isn't, am I in the mood today? Did I wake up on the right side of the bed, luckily? This has nothing to do with luck. This has nothing to do with, is the moon and the stars aligned correctly today? No. It's, where am I at and where do I want to be? That's all it is. And then you go in that direction. When I was a young guy, I was probably only about 26 years old, and a professional coach had said, hey, I've got this fighter. I'm like, yeah? He goes, I want you to train him. I'm like, really? He goes, yeah, come over to my place. We've got, come over to our gym. He goes, I want you to train this guy. I'm like, why? He goes, I just think you'll do really well with him. So the guy didn't show up. And I'm like, well, where is he? He goes, I don't know, he's supposed to be here at 6 o'clock. After 7 o'clock, I'm like, I'm out of here. So then I got a call a few days later, and the guy says, yeah, he's going to show up on this, tonight or tomorrow night. So I showed up on time, and I'm waiting, and he showed up late. And I'm like, well, what's the problem? He's like, oh, sorry, I'm like, okay, well, let's train. He's like, oh, you're not really in the mood to push it today. I'm just kind of looking at this guy like, the hell's going on here? So then I sparred with the guy, just kind of popped him around a little bit. Didn't do nothing. It was super, super light. And I was like, okay, well, you got to work it out in. That's good, okay. And then he didn't show up the next time. I was like, yeah, I'm done. we're done. That's 3 strikes. You're out. And so he got my number from the other guy, and he called me, and I said, no, we're done. I go, you don't want to show up. He goes, no, Mike, I go, look, I get the fact that you would love to be a champion, but you don't want to put in the work. There's no way you're going to go from where you're at to up there if you're not even willing to show up. No, I am. Okay, all right, well, we got about an hour. I'll see you there at 6 o'clock. He goes, oh, well, I don't, and listen to what he says. I don't want to show up tonight. I don't want to do it tonight. I'm like, see what I mean? You don't want it. You would like it. It would be nice to tell your friends you're a world champion, but you're not. And you're never going to be. So he called me the next day. Oh, come on, give me a chance. I'm like, I've already given you chances. I go, if you want to fight, you live in a great area where there's a ton of gyms. I go, hell, go to that gym. Have that guy train you. And so the guy called me and he said, yeah, I'll train him. He's going to show up and stuff. And so after about a couple of weeks, I called him and said, well, has he been showing up? He goes, yeah, well, he showed up twice last week and he missed tonight's training. I go, he's a flake. He's full of shit. I'm going to tell you one thing right now. You have got to be committed. You have to, at the very minimum, you have to, number one, show up. Period, end of sentence. I don't care if you're throwing up. I don't care if you have a broken rib. I really don't care. You have to show up. I can't think of a single game or single practice I missed in any sport. Even when I had broken fingers, even when I broke a rib, even when I had a severe concussion, and I wasn't even allowed to practice. So I put on everything but my helmet and I ran through the place. Nobody was allowed to hit me. I still showed up. It didn't matter. There was a time when I was just deathly ill, throwing up, had a fever of like 104, 103 degrees. I went jogging. I ran 3 miles. This was when I think I was in 8th grade or 9th grade. And my aunt is like, what are you doing? I'm like, I got to train. You can't, it was like, you can't take a break. There was a match in Reno. It was not a match, but it was a wrestling tournament they do every year in Reno in high school wrestling. At least they did. I'm assuming they still do it. And I had a fever of 102.1. And I threw up before my first match. And my coach is like, Mikey, you don't have to do this. But it's like, no. It's like I didn't come all the way and train all these last couple of weeks and months just to not show up for the second biggest tournament of the year. I won the entire tournament. So it's not just physically showing up. You've got to show up mentally and emotionally. You have to be committed regardless. That night when I was sick and I went for a run, when my aunt said, what are you doing? I remember telling myself, what if I show up at a boxing match and I have the flu? Or I've got a fever of 99 or 100 degrees or 101 degrees. What am I just going to say, sorry, can't compete tonight? What am I going to do? Just kind of coast through the fight and get my butt kicked? I'm like, no. If I can push myself now, being this sick, because I'll never be sicker than this. And if I am, I won't be able to walk, so it wouldn't matter anyways. I'll never be sicker than this. If I can train when I'm this sick, then I can fight when I'm this sick or less sick or less sick or less sick than that. And I can win. That's the mentality you have to have. For life. If there's one thing I've learned in life, life's going to kick your ass. The question is, are you going to get back up and kick its ass? And that is the mentality. Oh, well, I don't want to play sports, Mike. This has nothing to do with sports. I just want to get married and have kids. Oh, really? Have you ever been married for 10 years? Do you know what that's like? Do you know what it's like to carry a baby to 9 months? Do you know what that's like? Do you know what it's like giving birth? You think getting married and having kids is easy? What are you going to do? Oh, I'm sick today. I'm not going to show up. Bullshit. Once you have kids, there is no off days. There is no sick days. If life punches you in the face, you kick its ass and you punch it 10 times harder and 10 times more. If life tries to kick your ass, kick its ass. The reason why I share these personal stories with you is because, not to say, oh, look at me. It's to say, look, I've been there. I know what it's like to climb a mountain and get knocked off. I know what it's like to get back up and run back up that mountain. I know what it's like working with elite coaches. I know what it's like working with elite CEOs. I know what it's like being at the top. I know the mentality. I know what it's like when you're in a championship game and everything is on your back. You have to get that first down or your team's going to lose in front of 10,000 people. I understand what pressure's like. And I understand what it means to stay focused enough to perform under pressure. I also have another gift, which at times seems to be a curse. I can see what you can't see. I can see your potential. I can also see and realize, oh, we can pull that potential out. We can get this person 10 levels, 12 levels above where they're at in life. And it's not from being motivational or inspirational and being raw. No, it's from the techniques, the technologies, the skills and abilities that I've developed and learned and been trained in over the last 30 years. You know what the reality is? I realize you have no idea how far you can go. If life sucks, why settle? If you got kicked on your ass, why sit down? If you got knocked down from the mountaintop, what are you waiting for? Get back up, run back up that hill. Why are you settling? Why are you sitting there? What are you waiting for? But Mike, I keep getting knocked back down. I go, so then keep getting back up. Coach Pearson, my freshman year, first year that I played football in high school. First year I played football at all. We went through double days, and for the first week or two, you have to basically train and hit the pads, and you're not allowed to hit each other until I think it's after the second week. And then the next Monday, that first day, because you got to toughen up, you got to get used to kind of getting hit with pads and running into I forget the name of the ram thing, whatever you ram into, when you got to run and do agility drills and learn plays and all this stuff. Well, then there comes then there comes the day where we're going to hit, and every day we're going to hit full blast. This day changed my life. So we had to get in a line, one on the other side facing us and one on my side facing them. Now, I don't know what position. I was probably 10th in line or 12th, or I forget what I was, but I wasn't too far back. And a couple guys hit, and the coach, all right, good job. A couple guys hit, good job. And then there's this one guy that wasn't really strong. He'd never played sports before, but he was kind of big kid, not too big. And he just thought he was the best in the world. And I like the confidence, don't get me wrong, but he really was like, and he got fired up, and I was like, right on, man, because a lot of the other kids were hesitant. Well, he went up against this other guy that wasn't as big as him, and they ran at each other full blast, and boom, they blasted into each other. And we had to go to the back of the line every time. Well, so when he hit, the coach was like, good job. Now, he kind of got knocked down a bit, and I remember watching, like, he was kind of shocked. But it kind of blew it off, and I think everyone else did, because he hit the guy so damn hard. Now, when it was his turn again, the coach blew the whistle, and he kind of ran out there half speed and hesitant. He kind of turned away, turned his shoulder, and he got knocked on his ass. Now, I admit, this was a pretty scary drill. It was just like head to head. I think we were like 10 yards or something like that, 12 yards apart, and we just full speed blast into each other. And you could get hurt. And a lot of us were getting bruises, and, it was freaking intense and getting concussions and stuff like that. And when this guy kind of almost stopped, and the other guy just plowed through him, and the coach goes, what are you doing? He goes, do it again. He goes, line up, do it again. And they ran at each other again, and again the kid went hesitant, half speed, kind of got plowed through, got knocked on his ass. Now remember, the other guy wasn't as big as this guy. And this guy was really confident the first time. And he looked really good the very, very first time until he had the reality of like, oh shit, this hurts. So after the second time, he hesitated again. So this was his third time around. The coach is like, what are you doing? Because his first time, he did awesome. And the coach is like, what's going on? He goes, well, coach, I can't do it. And the coach is like, what do you mean? He goes, well, he's better than me. And he keeps knocking me down. And he goes, that's not the way you do it. He goes, I don't care. And he goes, line up again. And they lined up again. And he blows the whistle. And they run at each other again. And again, he hesitates and gets knocked on his ass. He quits. So the coach grabs him by the face mask. And he yanks him. He goes, what the fuck are you doing? God damn it. And the kid's crying. He's like, I can't do it. And the coach is like, why? He goes, he's better than me. He goes, well, so what? And let me see I'm trying to remember how he said it. And he goes, how the hell do you think you're going to get better? And the kid's looking at the coach like, what do you mean? Kind of shocked. And he goes, but coach, he keeps knocking me down every time. He goes, I don't care. Every time you get knocked down, you get up and you go back at him 10 times harder. And he goes, if he knocks you down again, he goes, get back up and go back at it 10 times harder than that. And the coach, but he keeps winning. And the coach goes, I don't care how many times he knocks you down. Each and every time you get up, every time. He goes, I don't care if it's 101 times. You get back up until you knock him down. He goes, that's how you get better. And let me tell you, that mindset changed my life. It doesn't matter how many times. There's not a number. You keep getting back up and going back at it 10 times harder than the last time, and then that time, and then that time, until you knock them on their ass, until you win. That's how you get better. That's the mindset, period. There's two stories that I learned. One of them I know I learned from Tony Robbins. The other one I'm not 100% sure. I think I did, but I read it somewhere else too. And here's the first one. And here's the thing. It brought me back to when we lived with my aunt who had 3 adult cats and 2 of them had babies. So we had like 5 little babies running around, okay? And so this was a really good thing because it brought back a real memory for me. So Tony Robbins says, the one thing about cats is they don't know the word quit. It's not in their vocabulary. It's not even in their awareness. He goes, they just never quit. They keep going until they do. Now this story literally was a visual memory in my mind. So Tony Robbins goes, haven't you ever seen baby kittens? They watch their mommy run up to the tree and climb up it and boom, they get up there 10 feet up there on the limb. And you got these little kittens bouncing around and falling down. And they run up to the tree and they bang their head into it and they fall over. And then they bump into each other and they fall over. He goes, but the next day get a little stronger. They get a little more aggressive. And then a week later, then 2 weeks later. And they keep going back at it. And they keep going back at it. And they keep going back at it. And they keep failing. They keep falling down. And they and then all of a sudden, about a month later, maybe 2 months later, they actually get their claw in it and they get maybe 1 or 2 feet up. And they kind of get excited and then they fall back down. Now here's the deal. Each and every one of those kittens eventually climb up that tree and get to the top. Each and every one of them. Some of them do it a little bit sooner than the others, maybe a day or two, maybe even a week or two, maybe even a month. But even the last one, even the runt of the group, ends up climbing to the very, very top. And then the mom climbs up a fence, and then the kittens do it, and so on and so on. Everything they do in life is they keep doing it until they do it. And then Tony Robbins talked about a child, a baby. He said this, how many times, if you have a child, how many times are you going to give it to try to stand up and walk? 1 time? 2? 3? 10? 15 times? I mean, he goes, no, seriously, what if your baby got up, it's about 11 months old or 12 months old, and it falls down again for the 15th time? Is that like, nope, that's it. You're never going to walk. We're not going to let you walk. You can't do it. I'm going to pick you up and I'll put you in your crib and that's it. Done. No more trying. You could see the crowd go silent. He goes, okay, how about 20 times? 21, 22, 27, 30, 35. I mean, come on, 35 tries. I mean, it's been almost, 3 weeks now. It started standing up at 11 months old. Now it's almost 12 months old and still not walking. How many times? Now we're into the 13th month and it's been 67 times, 77 times, 80 times. Are you just going to say, no, that's it. That's enough. You can't do it. Quit. Now, some of these people, their mouths were dropped, like, and they go, "You, sir, right there. How many times, how many chances are you going to give your child until you make them quit?" And he looked at Tony, he goes, "I'm never going to quit. I'm never going to tell him to quit until he gets up and walks." And Tony Robbins goes, "You're right." Here's the thing. Nobody has told you this. You are in the battle of your life. Your life literally is a battle. And there's no days off. I'm telling you, there's no days off. Yeah, you might be able to take the weekend off to catch up on your rest, but Monday's coming, Tuesday's coming. And I do believe in rest, don't get me wrong, but there are some days when you have to push yourself. So getting good night's rest is a good thing. Taking a day off, a week off even, maybe 2 weeks a year, take it off and just do nothing but sleep and lay on the beach. Do nothing. That's regenerative and that's good. Rest is important. But in the long run, there is no quit. There is no stop. If you can just shift your mentality and be like, I'm in a battle. I'm in the battle of my life. I want to do things with my life. So I'm going to have to fight for them. I'm going to have to keep going at that tree until I get to the top. And you gain those little victories. Even that one kitten that only got 2 claws up on the tree, it's only up about a foot, you could see its tail flick. You could see the sparkle in its eyes. That was a building block that you get to keep for the rest of your life. And then he got up 2 feet, and then 3, and his muscles started to build. His coordination started to come. That's there for life. Those are building blocks. You get to keep each and every one of those blocks, and each of one of them are victories and rewards. And then one day, he got on top of that first limb that's about 8 feet up or 10 feet up. The confidence is going through the roof. See, it's not the mentality of it's either 0 or it's 100. No, it's 1 and then 2 and then 3. And each one of these you get an award. Each one of these you get a victory. Each one of these it builds your coordination, your confidence, your mentality, your mindset. You're getting stronger. You're getting smarter. You're developing a skill set. Now, the last 7 years of my life have been unbelievably painful. It has been just one knockdown. Now, there was a year and 9 months that I went through where I was like, man, this is heaven. Life for a year and 9 months was just unbelievable. It's like I finally made it. I was like, okay, this is awesome. This is what I always wanted life to be like. And then I got knocked on my ass, and it hurt bad. So I got back up. Shocked the hell out of a lot of people, because a lot of people can't get back up because they don't know what that means. They don't know what that is. They don't even know there is something called getting back up. They just quit. Here's the thing. I would just like, well, just get back up. You know, they're like, well, yeah, but you lost. I mean, what do you mean get back? It's a concept their brain doesn't understand because they've never pushed themselves. And here's the thing. They don't believe they can because they never have before. Because after the first time that kitten tried to climb up the tree like mommy, it fell down. It's like, oh, I can't do that. And it never tries again. It never develops fortitude. Never develops commitment. If you think you're either born with it or not, you're just a liar. You are not given the gift of fortitude. You are not given the gift of commitment. You have to develop it. When people lie to me on these subjects, commitment, fortitude, following through, showing up mentally and emotionally, I get rid of them. I fire them. And the first one was that kid in boxing. He actually wasn't a kid. He was in his 20s. I fired him like, he doesn't want it. You're no way you're going to be this half-assed dude. Here's another thing. It's frustrating working with people like that. You either want it or you don't. And here's the thing. If you don't, that's fine. That's your choice. This channel is not for you. One thing I couldn't figure out is why they look at me like, people will say this to me, like, why are you so happy? I'm like, well, I don't know. I mean, I got up this morning, did 100 push-ups, 100 sit-ups. I rode my bike for 14 miles, and it's a fixie, it's a single gear, so it's pretty freaking hard going up the hill. Sometimes I got to run up the hill with my bike, and I mean, I don't know. I read a book for 30 minutes. I learned something, or remembered something from NLP, and I worked with a client and made a shift. I mean, I got these mini victories building up. See, I couldn't figure out, why aren't they happy? They make a lot of money. They've got nice cars. They've got this. They've got, like, how are you not happy? That's the thing that I don't understand. And here's the deal. I'm okay with not understanding why someone won't motivate themselves, why somebody won't learn, why somebody won't develop themselves, why somebody won't hire someone to get them back on track. Because I don't want to have nothing to do with that world. You can change. Take charge of your life. Make it happen. Do whatever it takes. If you want to make a mind shift, if you want to shift in your emotions, get a hold of me. I think you're going to be surprised at how much you can change and step into your power. For what purpose? For you. Live your life. Let's start building upon those mini victories and build up to medium victories and build up to large victories and build up to championships. Whatever that is to you.